Shadow work is everywhere right now, but your Instagram feed is full of it. Journal prompts for your darkest patterns, meditations to meet your shadow self. And the people selling it to you will tell you it's the deepest, most transformative work you can ever do. Maybe. But here's the question nobody's asking. What happens when you go into your darkest patterns and you don't have the capacity to handle it? What happens when you crack yourself open and there's nothing underneath that knows how to put you back together? In this video, we're going to break down what shadow work actually is, why doing it without the right foundation is going to make things significantly worse, and what needs to be in place before you go anywhere near your shadow. What's up, everyone? Dr. Greg here, licensed therapist, clinical psychologist. I'm here to talk about all those things in the shadow work community that isn't necessarily telling you. So shadow work, what is it all about? Well, it comes from Carl Jung. He's a very famous psychologist in the 20th century, and he believed that everybody has a shadow. This shadow is a part of ourselves that we've rejected, we've suppressed, we try to get rid of because we don't like that side of ourselves. The anger you were told wasn't okay to express, the neediness you learned to hide, the parts of you that didn't fit the version of yourself you were trying to be. Jung's whole argument was that integrating these pieces of yourself, bringing them into awareness, making peace with them, is going to help you live a more fulfilling life than just continuing to push them away, suppress them, and shove them down. That's legitimate. That's real psychology with over a century of clinical thought put behind it. But here's where things start to fall apart. What Jung was describing was a careful, gradual process helped along by a professional. It was not a 30-day Instagram challenge. What social media turned shadow work into is something completely different. A set of journal prompts, a guided meditation, a vibe, if you will. The assumption being made is that awareness of your shadow is the same as integrating it. And I'm here to tell you it isn't. Seeing something clearly and integrating it in a way that allows you to, well, not have your nervous system go off the deep end are two completely different things. And right now, millions of people are being encouraged to look at the darkest parts of themselves without any kind of skills or safety net in place before they start to do that. Here's the part that nobody's talking about. When you go into suppressed emotional material without the nervous system capacity to process it, you're not integrating it, you're reactivating it. There's a difference between processing a difficult emotion and being traumatized by it. Processing means that your nervous system can experience it, move through it, and come out the other side with more capacity than it had before. Retraumatization means your nervous system gets flooded, goes into survival mode, and files the experiences away as something that is too dangerous to touch, so keep out. What most people miss here is that their nervous system doesn't know the difference between something that's happening right now and something that you're revisiting in your journal. The body responds the same way, which means if your nervous system is always running hot, easily activated, and something that jumps up into the higher level of activation very quickly, then going into your shadow material isn't going to help it. It just adds more activation to the system that's already struggling to cope. And then you close the journal, and then you go about your day carrying everything with you that just got stirred up with no tools on how to handle it. This is why some people come out of shadow work feeling worse off than when they went in. Before you go into your shadow, you need to be able to regulate so that when you do go in there, you can handle it. And this is not optional. That's the foundation that everything sits on. Here's what that means practically. Your nervous system has a window of tolerance, a range within which you can experience difficult emotions, sit with them, and process them without going into some kind of shutdown or explosion. Shadow work only works when you're within that window. The moment that activation crosses that threshold, your emotional threshold, which is usually a 7 on a scale of 1 to 10, that's when your prefrontal cortex starts to get real quiet, the logical part of your brain. Your capacity for reflection, integration, and insight disappears. And what's left is a set of pure survival responses. At that point, you're not doing shadow work. You're just dysregulated. This is what the Autopilot interrupt protocol is built around. Before you go anywhere near difficult material, you need to know where you are on that scale. You need to be able to notice the signals that your body sends before you cross that threshold. Tension in the jaw, heaviness in your chest, uncomfortable feelings in your gut. And you need to be able to make small corrections that bring you back into that window before it gets too late and you find yourself dysregulated from all the heavy material dealing with your shadow. Slowing your breath down, pulling it into your belly, dropping your shoulders. Name what you're feeling without becoming it. And remember, these aren't just calming techniques. They're what keep the window open long enough for the real integration to happen. Because here's the thing about your shadow, it needs to be met, not conquered. Carefully, gradually, from a nervous system that's stable and able to interact with that difficult part of yourself so that you can stay present with your shadow self. And that's the part that nobody's telling you in these 30-day challenges. So, is shadow work legit? Yes. The concept is real, the psychology behind it is solid, and when done correctly, it can be genuinely transformative. But what's being sold as genuine shadow work on social media right now is missing that key ingredient, the nervous system foundation that makes it safe for you to go there. You can't think your way through suppressed emotional material. You need a nervous system that's stable enough to be able to hold it so that you don't become overwhelmed. And building that capacity, it's not glamorous. It doesn't make a good Instagram aesthetic. It doesn't sell courses the way transformative narratives do. But it is the thing that determines whether or not your shadow work is actually going to heal you or whether it's going to reopen old wounds. So if you want to build that foundation before you go any further, I highly encourage you, go check out the Autopilot Interrupt Protocol. It's the first link in the description. It's free. It takes 3 minutes. You're worth 3 minutes. And it's the thing that needs to come first before everything else actually helps you.